Heyo everyone, Hexi here, and today we're talking about a game that peeves me the fuck off, coming from two big developers, that being Rockstar and Bungie. You would think if these two combined together they would make a really great game, but it is garbage. That's right, I'm talking about Oni today. Now, one of my biggest problems takes place as soon as we start up the tutorial, and that's that the main character, Kanoko, has this horrible movement system that feels like it would be more at home in a GTA game than in something that requires precision, beat-em-up mechanics, and platforming. So I'm a little bit miffed that they decided to go with this, weird momentum-based limb system for locomotion. It really throws off your combat whenever you're trying to beat someone up and your character steps off to the side and then does their kick, completely missing the enemy in the process. Yet as soon as I started the running tutorial, you'll notice that yes, you have to double tap forward to run, which is not great if you need to slide in a specific area because that requires you to be running first. But if you move the D-pad even slightly in a diagonal direction, you're gonna take a little step off to the side, which stops all your momentum. In a normal game, this would just be annoying, but in Oni, it can be outright lethal. Now there is this very overly sweet and placid-toned android giving you the tutorial, but she comes off as more obnoxious and patronizing than actually friendly or helpful.
Good job! You know, the jump flip is also a great way to hit an opponent on the ground.
And spoilers, thankfully the game kills her off halfway through, so you don't have to listen to her anymore. However, partway through the first level, she does interrupt you to tell you about the incredible effects of taking drugs.
Kanoko, there's something I have to tell you about hypo sprays. I'm not supposed to talk about this, but data suggests that hypos will work differently on you than on other people.
Which, are stimulants that they use for healing, but the way that she talks about them and how she's like, don't tell Commander Griffin, that'll get us in trouble, really makes it sound like they're alluding to something other than healing potions. The game really likes to use its laser tripwire traps. It puts them everywhere, to the point where it gets obnoxious. So one of the first bosses you come up to is this cyber brain, and the game refers to it specifically as a deadly brain. The brain makes a series of demands, one of which is that it wants feet. Don't let this thing have your OnlyFans password.
The brain tells me it will irradiate everything within a 50-block radius unless we meet the following demands. It wants feet. Oh, it's unleashing a torrent of digital images of its feet. Stop it!
So yeah, the soundtrack has a few hits, but the problem is with how the game is programmed to handle its music, because a lot of the time it just cuts off awkwardly and leaves you in abject silence to just contemplate the constant sound of Kanoko's footsteps.
Incoming compass data.
So, the voice direction is almost non-existent. Here we've got enemies that approach you and say things like,
Whoa! Now don't make me hurt you. I have a family.
I'll finish you.
You're weak.
Static fist.
Earthquaker! Stronger and stronger!
I warned them not to activate it. It will kill us all. Run while you still can.
Why did you build it in the first place?
Well, you know.
I mean, what the fuck does that even mean, guys? Enemies have a tendency to shout out attacks like any good anime would have. Very cliche. However, it comes across as being very much like a Newgrounds animation or reboot due to the bad voice direction.
Strong Rushmore!
What?
Later in the game, there's this ninja boss, and Kanoko says that she can feel the ninja inside of her.
Who are you? Why can I feel you inside me?
Not that I wish to be implying anything, but keep your mind out of the gutter, Kanoko. Even though Kanoko's name is clearly spelled Konoko in the subtitles, the voice actors insist on calling her Kinoko. And I'm not sure if that's down to bad voice direction or what, but it definitely doesn't look professional on their part.
Hi, Kanoko. Listen, Kanoko. Kanoko?
The game has this really bad, half-assed anime art style that kind of resembles Shogo Armor Unit, if you guys know about that game. The models really would look much more at home in an Unreal Tournament mod than in a full-priced video game, though. While the game does have a variety of weapons, one of the most over-the-top was probably this swarm missile launcher that looks like it would also be right at home in Unreal Tournament. And then also there's this boss who has a ridiculously huge laser gun. You think he's compensating for anything? Also during that boss fight, there's this little homage to Akira with the Akira slide. However, you know, the art style does not complement the original source material any. The way that the developers present the story and how ham-fisted some of the plot points are really makes it seem like they wanted to emulate things like Ghost in the Shell and Battle Angel Alita. However, they didn't really have an understanding of what made those series cool or engaging. So they're really just failing to redo the same things. There's also this trippy dream sequence where you get big head mode. Very early 2000s game design there. And there's a psychedelic mirror battle where you have to fight against yourself, representing your inner turmoil. And then the ending doesn't really go anywhere. There's this very on-the-nose environmental message about the government poisoning people. But, you know, it's just very ham-fisted like the rest of the story. The ending doesn't even lead anywhere. It's just the city gets destroyed and hopefully humanity survives. I know they were trying to be dark and edgy, but yeah, just comes across as pretentious.
Everyone died. The end.
Oni? More like only belongs in the trash? At any rate, guys, that's all I've got time for this week. Ciao for now, and Hexi out. Thanks go out to my Patreon supporters. Your donations mean the world to me, and I thank you for supporting my future endeavors.
Mhm.